After a fresh wave of clashes erupted between protesters and the Awami League supporters in Bangladesh, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has resigned and she has left the country. Bangladesh Army Chief General Waker-Uz-Zaman announced that Prime Minister Hasina has indeed tendered her resignation officially and a national government would be formed soon, in a matter of hours, in fact. In a televised address to the nation, General Waker-Uz-Zaman, who also addressed a press conference, urged citizens to keep their trust in the Bangladesh Army, asserting that the defense forces will ensure peace in the coming days.
Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has resigned, an interim government to be formed to look at the state of affairs. Keep patience, give us some time. We will be able to find solution to all the problems confronting the country. Please don't take the path of confrontation and return to the path of peace. It is taking a lot of toll on our country in terms of economy and the finances, which have gone down. People are dying, and let me assure you, I will take all the responsibility and a solution will be found.
And protests and violence began last month after student groups demanded scrapping of a controversial quota system in government jobs. These protests escalated into a campaign to seek the ouster of Sheikh Hasina, who had won a fourth straight term in January this year in an election. And in view of the ongoing developments in Bangladesh, Indian nationals have been strongly advised against travelling to the country till further notice. The Ministry of External Affairs said that all Indian nationals presently in Bangladesh are advised to exercise extreme caution, restrict their movements and remain in contact with the High Commission of India in Dhaka. And this is a developing story. I'm joined by our correspondent Naval Singh Parmar, who joins us live from Dhaka, and also my colleague Ramesh Ramachandran joins us from the Delhi newsroom. Thank you both gentlemen for joining. First to you, Naval Singh Parmar, give us the situation on the ground in Dhaka right now. When I was talking to you a little while back, you were saying that not just student leaders, not just protesters, but a lot of common people have come out on the streets of Dhaka. The numbers would be in thousands, could even be, you were saying, close to about 1 lakh. Give us a sense of, what the situation there is. Are people still out on the streets? And what is the mood of the people? Has anger turned into jubilation, or does the threat of violence still persist?
Actually, as you mentioned that the former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, or Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, has resigned, as the Army Chief Waker-Uz-Zaman mentioned on during his address to nation. Second thing, there were violence in last 20 days, from 16th July to today is 5th August. During this violence, there were 3 parties on street, and whatever violence happened, it's happened on street. And in that, one is the protester, second one is the Awami League affiliated organizations activists, and third one is police. As now, Prime Minister has resigned and the army took over the charge of the security in the Bangladesh. So there are now very few chances of any street fight or violence on street. But there are a huge anger against the Awami League affiliated organization and Awami League people. So there may be some kind of violence may happen in 1 or 2 days or coming days. One thing I want to mention here is that she was a quite popular leader. Sheikh Hasina was a quite popular leader, and that's why she won the recent election in January 2024. But her government, and its image was maligned due to her associates. who were people were thinking that her associates are misguiding her, and they are very much involved in corruption activities here in Bangladesh, and they are not looking down to the or looking for the common people or their plight or their troubles. So there were anger against the Sheikh Hasina-led government, but not against her. In last few days, the situation changed. Earlier, it was started as a student movement, and then it became a political movement. And result is that the Sheikh Hasina has to resign,
All
and
right.
now he
Okay.
is at separate.
Okay. Ramesh, before I come to you, I want to ask Naval Singh Parmar one more question. Now, the Army Chief, in a little while back in that press conference, said efforts are on to install a national government that he would be, and that would be installed in a matter of hours. Are there any further developments on that you're hearing?
Still now, I don't have any input regarding the formation of national government. But one thing I would like to mention here that on Saturday evening, there were a huge gathering at the Central Shahid Minar in Dhaka, and at that gathering, the coordinator of the movement announced for the single point demand, and that was a resignation of Sheikh Hasina government. And subsequently, they announced that we want a national government, caretaker government. And Army Chief also mentioned about the caretaker government, national government. And in that national government, the third front or the common people or the protester and their supporter will play a major role. They can, our new government will have to give place to the third front or the common people or who were the leading this movement, because the popular support are with this protester and the students and the we can say the intellectual who were supporting the students, not with the opposition party, BNP or its allied
Ah,
organization, and they are against the government. So third front is a crucial chunk who will play important role here in the next coming days. Second thing, the role of social media will not allow army to stay longer in power, because people are looking towards Indian democracy and their role model is Indian democracy. They want democracy like India, where they can change government with ballot, not bullet.
all right. Let me bring in Ramesh Ramachandran, my colleague. Ramesh, that's an interesting point that Naval Singh makes, that he says the possibility of a third front being part of the national government, interim government, caretaker government, whatever terminology we want to use for it. One, how is that possible if they are not members of the parliament, they are not from political parties? How will they be part of the government? Secondly, what would be the contours of this government? What would be the nature of the government? Would it be an interim government? Would they have to hold elections? Give us a sense of what is your sense on that?
Well, Amrit, to paraphrase what the Army Chief said a short while ago, he said the Army will form an interim government in Bangladesh. In other words, Army will take the lead to form a semblance of governance or the governance architecture in Dhaka. Now, what shape that will take, we don't know. As you mentioned, it could be a jurist, a retired judge. It could be a person with an army background, a retired general. It could be someone from civil society, as Naval Singh was mentioning, because this has outgrown from being an anti-quota protest to one which has larger ramification. It included members from all walks of life, students, academics, professors, bankers, activists, even from the police and security background. So things are in a state of flux as we speak. But that said, Amrit, we have to keep in mind that the world is buffeted by multiple crises: the Ukraine-Russia conflict, the Israel-Hamas conflict. India would certainly want to avoid a crisis in its immediate neighborhood. Why do I say that? One, you don't look at the geography, the map of Bangladesh and India. If the Indian states in the northeast and east straddle the Bangladeshi territory in the north, east and west, and Bangladesh is the linchpin of India's Act-East policy. So in all likelihood, connectivity, trade links with India's northeast, transportation links all come into play, and any disturbance in that part of the region will have a cascading domino effect on India and the rest of the region as a whole. So clearly, India will be looking at this very closely as we speak.
Okay. Ramesh, another thing, Sheikh Hasina was broadly or widely seen as a friend of India. What does Sheikh Hasina's, the deposing of Sheikh Hasina mean? What would the Indians, what would the South Bloc be worried about right now?
Amrit, there's no denying that what has happened in Dhaka in the last several hours is nothing short of cataclysmic, seminal, watershed moment in the life and history of Bangladesh. And it comes barely a few weeks, 10 days before the anniversary of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman's assassination, 15th August 1975. So that one has to keep that in mind, because Sheikh Hasina is the daughter of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, and she's been in power now for 20 years and counting. Remember, she first came to power in 1996 and then in 2009, and since then she's won every election she has fought in Bangladesh. And Bangladesh was doing reasonably well economically speaking. But within a matter of few weeks, things turned for the worse in Bangladesh and for Hasina herself. And all eyes, as I said, would be on what she does going on from here, and how India chooses to respond to this immediate challenge in its immediate neighborhood as well.
Okay. Let me go back to Naval Singh Parmar. Naval Singh Parmar, do we know the whereabouts of Sheikh Hasina? There were reports that she could be in India. She could have left for India in that military helicopter that we saw, and could be en route to Europe, perhaps Finland or London. Anything that you're hearing on that?
No, I can't confirm the things because I don't have update regarding that. But I want to make one point here.
Okay.
The remarkable thing about this movement is that the participation of girls, young girls in this movement, and absence, because there is no much rigid caste system here. Absence of caste and presence of the girl participant in the movement was a remarkable. And second thing, it was like a class division were there. Class division is there. Poor and common people were there on the street, and the huge presence of girl and women in last 20 days I have seen on the street of Dhaka. That is very remarkable.
All right. So the girl power removed the woman Prime Minister. Thank you, Naval Singh and Ramesh Ramachandran, for joining me and giving perspective to that story.